Now, if you're all about cooking or you want to learn about cooking, you want to spice things up in the kitchen, he's your guy. So his name is Chef Shingi, Ultimate Brine Master South Africa participant, and also an entrepreneur, operates a business called Outdoor Chef. That's OK Chef ZW. Good morning, Shingi.
Hey, what's up, Eve?
At least this week you're in the building. Remember how last week you were busy bragging on the phone, telling me about how you had made madume that was looking so nice and tasting nice, and you were pretty much just rubbing it in my face.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I remember very fondly because sometimes I still feel like I'm there. You know, that place is so surreal. I love makomo.
it's different air. It's
It's
different
so
air.
different. You know, apparently they call it champagne air.
Ooh,
So you can only
okay,
imagine.
that's new.
Kuti aga breath ka jika nga kanyanya ikako.
Right, so today we're talking about pot roasting goodness, another way to comfort through winter.
Exactly. So we started something like this a couple of weeks ago together, actually.
Yeah.
When we were talking about how you want to go through the winter and, you know, what type of dishes are going to be the ones that you're trying to look forward to making in your kitchen through the winter. And pot roasting is definitely one of those things that can bring about lots of comfort and lots of satisfaction. Look, I always talk about technique, right? And this is one of the most important things to get your technique right. Otherwise, it's not going to work, okay?
Okay.
So we're going to talk about how to pot roast, and then we're going to talk about a few different things that you want to put in the pot, and what type of pot even. Last number, and we must enjoy in this part of the year. So yeah, like, first thing you need, guys, the basics of pot roasting, okay? You have to understand that this is a slow cooking method, and most of all comfort foods are supposed to take their time in the pot, and take their time wherever actually you're cooking from, be it the oven, be it the pot or the pan or whatever. You're supposed to take it nice and slow, okay? And the
Alright.
meat or my veg kana chirikubikwa cheche chinofana onyatsoitwa seared and then cooked at a low heat, okay? So slow and low, okay? And yeah, like, I tell you what, like, one of the things that actually just does it by itself is a heavy duty pot or a Dutch oven. Okay. And this is, like, I think maybe one of the most important things, because, you know, I always say, like, I think it's a little bit of a bragging identity of myself. You know, with my food and with my ingredients, but it's just a matter of treatment and, you know, the idea of knowing what to do, when to do what. So, you know, the first thing, guys, is you're gonna need a heavy duty pot. Now, I've got lots of cast iron pots, and the original ones aluminium.
Easy now. Don't throw stones. Don't throw stones. It's okay.
Because I hate seeing those pots, and you know, sometimes people are trying to make a wonderful dish when they have the wrong tools. I know a good carpenter doesn't blame his tools, they say, but I tell you what, when it comes to cooking and, you know, doing it right in the kitchen, you've got to start with the right tools. And yeah, you just need a heavy duty pot, guys. No two ways about that one. Or a cast iron pot, especially kana uchiroera pa moto ga. Cast iron kumberi, you know, vyanyatsa kuita kuti flavor
Locking all the
yose
heat and the flavor
iphinde,
and everything. Yeah.
exactly, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, and then so this method, guys, is for your meat lovers. So we're going to talk about beef, we're going to talk about oxtail, and we're going to talk about pork, okay? And I want you to imagine that any one of these three cuts of meats is what you're dealing with right now. And the first step that you're going to do is what you call searing. So, guys, pen and paper, my method, searing. This is what this is the process of browning the meat on all sides, okay? So you're trying to develop flavor, you're trying to develop crust, you're trying to develop texture and color. All those things are happening at the same time. That's 4 things at once. So you can only imagine if this is the first step and you're already going through 4 elements of what this
At one
dish is
go.
going to
Yes.
bring out. This is definitely something that's going to be a win-win situation, right? And then you're going to take your time just to sort of make sure that all corners are nice and brown. And you know, actually what we learned in culinary school is that you can actually, especially with oxtail, because oxtail out of the 3 cuts of meats that I've mentioned, cooks a little bit longer. you will take to flour mbichana ndika, and then you dust your oxtail with some of that flour, and you put it in your pot. And this pot is on medium to high heat because you want to sear, remember, you want to brown, and then you'll brown it nicely. Ka oxtail kako kunyatsotsvukira kuita kunge katoibva zvezve zvekuti ukakatarisa soka unenge uchinyatsonzwa kuti ya izvi zvinhu izvi zvanenge zvada kutoiswa mukanwa. But once you're done browning, the next step is called deglazing, okay? And this is basically that part where tumapisi twedu twebrown twedu tinenge tazosarira twakabatira pasi pepoto twedu titauda kuti tichisimudza manje tumapisi twedu twebrown twedu. So this is like a part where you lifting all that caramelized bits of flavor that have come from the meat and have bonded with the pot back up and into the broth, okay, or into the sauce or the liquid that's gonna cook the remainder of the cooking period, okay? And like most people like to add a stock. You can prepare a stock beforehand and use that to sort of deglaze. You can just add some water because already there's going to be chunks and chunks of flavor in there, so you don't need to really stress what type of liquid you use. But here's another secret, guys. So the next step now is called braising, and braising is that method where you're sort of boiling, but it's not like a harsh boil putika mazibubbles ekuratidza kuti zveshuwa zviri kufashaira. No, panenge pachida kuti nyatsoenda mbichana ichiita kunonzi kudibwida, handiti kuti ichiita kunonzi kudibwidira, so ichiita kuti mbichana, handiti. And this is the most crucial part of the cooking process, because for the remainder of the cooking period, this is what's going to be the case. You want to make it nice and slow. And one of the secrets for braising, guys, is that unoisa mvura halfway, handitika kana chiti halfway tiri kuti isusu kana uine nyama yawaisa mupoto usazadza kukava nyama yese, handiti, you cover halfway and then you just let it go, because you want to also have that steaming effect and not have all the meat or all of the contents submerged in the water, okay? So that's really, really important, guys, and I want you to take note of that. And when you cook at a nice slow heat, you're breaking down those connective tissues and infusing flavors. It's really gradual, and this is such a scientific process, guys. If you rush this part, then you've done nothing, and it's actually not going to be such a comfort food in the end of the day. And saka my methods, guys, but say, because ndo anoita kuti zviite, the recipe is not so important after you've done these things right, because you can pretty much chuck anything after that, And I will share a pot roasting recipe. Let me start with this beef one, because I think this is an easy one to go. Okay, so you're gonna need a couple of kgs of beef. So bear in mind,
all right.
Beef
any particular beef, or
any particular beef, because remember, this is a long, slow process, okay? But I should tell you that the closer to the bone, the sweeter the meat. So
so bony beef.
So a nice bony beef, but let's put more nyama on that one. The beef bones and all. But you can mix it up. It could be any cut, absolutely any cut of beef, except for obviously the sort of cuts that you would use for making a steak or serving as a steak, right? And you'll just need some salt and pepper. Just put in a bit of a sprinkle on that beef, and then vegetable oil, pepper. You need 2 onions, guys, 4 garlic cloves, some carrots. You cut them into nice chunks. So these chunks of carrots must also resemble meat, guys. No, you must seek the pot roasting. As we do to my carrots to meat. No, you know what? You want to make sure that all of what's in there is actually sort of resembling my chunks. And that's the secret of pot roasting. And obviously some beef broth if you've got some. If you don't, you can use some water, that's fine. Some red wine, which is optional, but this is also just one of those things that you can use to touch up for a little bit of some flavor.
To lock in flavor, yes.
You know what I'm talking about.
And not just any wine. If you say red wine now, somebody's gonna get a sweet wine, like like a rosé wine, and you put it in it.
Yeah, like a dark red is best, guys.
A
So
dry
it could be
red.
a dry red. Sorry, a dry red. It could be a Merlot. It could be
A Cab
a
Sauv.
Cab Sav, and yeah, those two will work. Look, if you do use a sweet,
No, don't use rosé. Don't do
just
that.
don't use rosé, right? Yeah. But yeah, look, I think sometimes it's also what you have on hand. But if you have rosé, don't use rosé. Okay? Yeah, it won't work.
Do without.
Do without the wine. Just talk about it. It's optional on.
Okay.
Right. And then obviously some fresh thyme. I always use thyme in pretty much most of my meat dishes. It's also because I'm growing lots and lots of it. And if you like some rosemary as well. Now this is deep flavor, guys. You can only imagine. But that treatment, I'm telling you, if you follow those first important steps to make sure that before you put in your broth, you've achieved the elements of flavor that are going to be, developed through the cooking period, then our winner apana and it saka isusu tiri tapedza nege beef akwandirika. Guys, if you missed anything, you can feel free to hit me up on my WhatsApp number. I will share my details at the end, so stay tuned in. And just make sure that you send me a WhatsApp and we can add you to a group that we talk about most things that we haven't managed to cover through this session, or anything that you might have missed. Now the next one, guys, ka chicken. And it akakari fast manja.
Okay.
Yeah. Akari fast, but zvandongokafarira ndezvekuti ndakakadzidzira tanga tiri pa, it's got a cultural significance. Inonzanzi huku yemabombwe or something. Please, if there's anyone listening, can someone actually explain what this is? But I've heard different methods and different versions of what this is. So yeah, let me know. Let us know rather. But look, the chicken is whole, and I check with my piece. Inongosungirwa kashule so kumakumba anditi kana kuti mbira dzakondo anditi and then yobe isko mafuta meme yotanga kutenwa and you have to turn it until it's nice and crispy and golden brown and that skin has rendered.
So let me just hold you there. It's frying, it's not deep frying.
It's not deep frying at all. Yeah, so it's pot roasting.
Okay, pot roasting.
Exactly.
Okay, let's go.
And basically you just want to look for that color, which is the first step ya taura ya andika saka pa color pa guys tiri kuti isusu huku yako inofana unyatsa kutsvukira kuita golden brown, and if you do it right, even paoneisa mvura, I tell you what guys, that brown will not fade away into the water, it will not rub away from the skin, and that skin will be nice and rendered and crispy still, believe it or not. Okay, and you will pretty much need the same sort of ingredients. You're going to use garlic. Chicken loves garlic, guys. If you're going to cook chicken ever, chicken loves garlic. You've got to always use some garlic in your chicken. Salt and pepper. Okay, you're going to have some onions chopped up nicely. And this one, madomasi manje. Madomasi ayahachekwiba.
Aniswa kadaro.
Aniswa kadaro. Obva anyatsopinde mpoto asina kana kumbodini. Asi anosvike pakuti fototo, so kunyatsa kupera mweya kuita kunga aponja madomasi aya ubva waziva kuti atasvika manje recipe yedu iya yanyatsa kuibva nditi. So that's another trick to just make sure that your tomatoes develop a lot of flavor. Actually, believe it or not, more flavor in those tomatoes, because when you do serve them, ningo wakawerenga kakuti 1 2 3 dedi mama mainini sis ona kuti kana wakupakura pepe unenge uchipakura uchinyatsoziva kuti domasi rese vandirika kana kuti the remainder of what looked like a tomato is going into someone's plate rakadaro. So that's a little bit of a hack there. So you're gonna make sure that you've got this all in that pot. You put the tomatoes before you put the water, just so that you can get a nice char, and the juice of the tomato sort of spreads around in there. And then one big trick I should tell you is sweet potato. So anozoti beef yedu inogona kuiswa tomboti beef yatinosingobika beef stew inomboiswa mapotato chao.
Yes, potatoes.
Right. This one in this chicken we're gonna put in there some sweet potato, the same way you'd add it to your beef as potatoes. You do this in your chicken as sweet potato. And I tell you what, like just that sweetness, and you don't peel them because there's a nice sort of acidity that you get from the skin of the potatoes,
So you put
of
it
the
as
sweet
is.
sweet potatoes, yeah. And you put it as this, and it's so much healthier for you. Remember, this show is about health. You get a little bit of some roughage coming from there, and I tell you guys, you will love that sweetness that you didn't expect to come out of a savory dish. But because this is comfort food, bonozesa broth yako yaya kuti zvinyatsa kusima paya unondudze kuti ichi chirungu ichi chingezi.
Chingues.
Yeah.
Then this one, I've got a message here that says, Chef Shingi is making us hungry in the office. His level of explanation.
That's the point, is it not? You know, we've got to try so hard because we don't have the actual visual in front of us.
You're painting a picture for them to
Exactly.
understand. So you put the sweet potatoes in, not peeled,
Yeah.
but you can chop them down.
You do chop them down. So what you'll do is chop them down into sort of an inch size
Okay.
cube sort of thing, square inch, is that correct? Yeah. I'm just trying to paint the picture. So yeah, and these, gosh, I had this dish last Friday,
All right.
and like I was surprising people kan they sweet potatoes that ramboita se savory dish yakadai. So I tried it, and when I say I tried it, I mean I tried it on other people.
Okay.
Because look, I love it, and I'll do it again and again, and they absolutely loved it. And we actually had a brown rice with it, so that was quite nice.
Oh,
A fried
fancy.
brown rice, so it felt like a touch of home. It felt like a traditional meal. For that matter, yanga iri oflea imwe rodrana like feel so saka.
Like that chicken that's shy to be a road runner.
Yeah.
Like it won't make up its mind whether it's a broiler or a road runner, somewhere there. But right, this is Your Chef, Your Health, the recipes with a focus on nutrition with our celebrity chef, and his name is Chef Shingi. So I learned something today that you can actually eat sweet potatoes. I'm really going to give it a shot.
You have to. Trust me.
But this, I'm definitely going to try. So you want to find out more about his recipes, how he does things, you can look him up on social media. Where do they find you?
Okay, so guys, you can catch me on my Instagram. My handles is at the Chef Life of Shingi. I'll repeat that, at the Chef Life of Shingi. You can also catch me on my mobile number. That's 0774 410 008. I'll repeat that again, 0774 410 008. And I'm also operating a business called the Outdoor Kitchen Chef. You can catch my handles on Facebook there. That's the OK Chef ZW.
Hans, please tell him to repeat. Kunonzu kudibida kwemadomasi. What? Kudibida.
Guys, it's like an expression to show kuti zvinhu zviri kunyatsa kukwata mbichana.
You should see what he's doing. You can go on Facebook and look up this video. So you should see what he's doing in the studio.
Ka sound kemabubbles kange kachito dubu dubu dubu.
You should see him bouncing as he's explaining. Like, you do it like this, it'll be like this. Oh yeah. That's Chef Shingi for you. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. So you can catch him again next week, same time right here on the Morning Galaxy, your mid-morning cruise into the stars, into the galaxy. And for more recipes, I mean, we're in winter and he's giving us all those winter warmer type of recipes. And you can follow him on social media. His page is OK Chef ZW for more recipes. And he did give you his number, so you can also get in touch with him to be added into his group. So it's 11, we've got the news. And then coming up in the next hour, we've got Roko Materes. A shout out to those who've never sent messages to the studio WhatsApp. So it'll be for the first timers, those who just listen in but never sent a message on the WhatsApp platform. We do that in the next hour. We also have the relationship goals with the love coach, that's Pastor Simbabwe Loza. And today we're going to be talking about marriage curfew. What time should a married person come home? So do stay tuned for that. We are Star FM, sounding good all the time. It is 11 and it's time for the news.
This is Zim